Everyone believed the billionaire's son felt nothing, until his new caregiver noticed one shocking detail no one else saw. The billionaire's son, Ethan, had never smiled, never cried, never laughed. Some said he was born emotionless. Doctors tried therapies. Teachers tried patience. But nothing worked. He ignored everyone, until a new caregiver arrived. The mansion was enormous. Its walls gleamed with gold accents. Crystal chandeliers hung from high ceilings. Yet the halls were silent. Too silent. The billionaire Richard Caldwell had everything money could buy: yachts, private jets, rare art, even a private island. But there was one thing he could not buy: his son's emotions. Ethan, 12 years old, had never laughed, had never cried, had never spoken more than a word or two. Doctors called him emotionally shut off. Friends whispered that he was impossible. Tutors gave up. The household staff walked on eggshells around him. No one can reach him, they said. And then a new caregiver arrived. Before the story continues, if stories like this inspire you, take a second to subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring you more powerful stories like this. Her name was Clara. Unlike others, she didn't flinch. She didn't panic. She didn't treat him like a patient to be fixed. She looked at him and smiled. "I'm here to help," she said. "But I won't force you." Ethan stared at her. He didn't react. But there was something in her calmness that made the air different. Clara tried everything the others had failed with. Music lessons, he didn't twitch. Art projects, the canvas remained blank. Games, he ignored them completely. The staff whispered behind her back, "She'll fail just like the rest." But Clara had noticed something subtle. A flicker in his eyes when she moved, the faintest twitch of his fingers when she approached. Something tiny, almost invisible, but real. She decided to try something different. One afternoon, she brought a small, ornate wooden box. She placed it on his table and walked away. No explanation, just the box. Inside, feathers, miniature lanterns, tiny toys, and a folded note. Some things can't be explained. You have to see them for yourself. Ethan's curiosity, long dormant, sparked. That night, Ethan sneaked out to the garden. The storm had passed, and the mansion was bathed in moonlight. Lanterns glowed softly, casting shadows across flowers. Birds chirped in the quiet. A faint melody drifted through the air. And then he saw Clara, kneeling on the grass, feeding a small injured bird with delicate hands. Ethan froze. He had never seen anyone move with such patience, such care. Suddenly, a shadow moved in the garden. The billionaire himself, watching silently. Richard whispered under his breath, "If she can reach him, she'll be worth every penny." But Ethan wasn't focused on his father. He was focused on Clara. Something inside him stirred, like a long-buried spark igniting. Clara noticed Ethan and froze, worried he might leave. But instead, he stepped closer. I want to help," he whispered. It was the first sentence he had spoken in years. Clara's eyes widened. But the twist didn't end there. The bird fluttered from her hands, and in that moment, something strange happened. Ethan's eyes widened, and he reached for the bird instinctively. His fingers trembled. His heart raced. He wasn't just moving physically. Something inside him was waking up. Over the next few days, Clara noticed subtle changes. He began sketching small images in his notebook. He hummed along quietly when she played the piano. He laughed softly at a playful animal in the garden. It was progress, tiny but real. Just when things seemed to be going well, something unexpected happened. A letter arrived from Richard's business rival. It claimed that Clara had a hidden agenda, that she wasn't there to help Ethan, but to gather secrets to manipulate the billionaire. Richard confronted Clara in his office. She remained calm. "I care only about the boy," she said. "If you doubt me, watch him." Richard didn't know whether to trust her. But when he watched Ethan, he saw something impossible. The boy smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in years. He ran to the garden, helping Clara care for animals, laughing freely, completely absorbed. Richard whispered, almost in awe, "She's done what I thought impossible." Weeks later, Ethan was a changed child. He spoke freely. He laughed. He cried. One evening, the mansion glowed with warm light as father and son walked through the garden. Ethan stopped near a small fountain, looking at Clara. "Thank you," he whispered. Clara smiled. "You didn't need me. You just needed to see that someone believed in you." Ethan turned to his father. "I'm ready to feel everything now." And for the first time, the billionaire realized that the most valuable thing in the world wasn't money, or power, or fame. It was a heart awakened from silence. After Ethan spoke his first sentence in years, the mansion changed. The staff whispered less. The halls felt warmer. Even the air seemed lighter. But Ethan himself remained unpredictable. Some days he smiled faintly. Other days he returned to silence, staring endlessly out the window as if fighting an invisible battle inside his mind. Clara noticed it immediately. This wasn't a simple breakthrough. Something deeper was locked inside him. And whatever had shut his emotions away had not fully let go. Late one evening, Richard Caldwell called Clara into his office. Rain tapped against the glass walls while city lights flickered below. He looked exhausted, not like a billionaire, but like a worried father. "You've done more in 2 weeks than specialists did in 10 years, he said quietly. "But there's something you should know." He hesitated, then opened a drawer and pulled out a medical file. Inside were reports marked confidential. Years ago, Ethan had witnessed a terrible event, a car accident that took his mother's life right in front of him. He survived physically, but afterward he stopped reacting to everything. Doctors concluded his mind had protected itself by shutting down emotion completely. Clara's expression softened. Now she understood. Ethan wasn't emotionless. He was protecting himself from pain. The next day, Clara didn't bring activities or lessons. Instead, she brought silence. She sat beside Ethan in the garden without speaking. Minutes passed, then an hour. Finally, Ethan asked softly, "Why don't you try to make me talk anymore?" Clara smiled gently. "Because feelings don't grow when they're forced. They grow when they feel safe." Ethan looked confused, but thoughtful. That night, he dreamed for the first time in years, and the dream frightened him. He woke suddenly, breathing heavily. Images flashed in his mind. Headlights, shattered glass, his mother calling his name. He ran out of his room, shaking. Downstairs, he saw Clara sitting awake, reading quietly. She looked up instantly. Without asking questions, she simply sat beside him. Ethan trembled, and then something shocking happened. He cried. Not quietly, not briefly. Years of trapped emotion poured out at once. Clara didn't stop him. She didn't speak. She just stayed. And for the first time since the accident, Ethan allowed himself to feel grief. The following morning, Richard noticed something strange. Ethan hugged him. It was awkward and brief, but real. Richard nearly broke down. Later that day, he asked Clara, "How did you do it?" She hesitated before answering, then revealed something she had never told anyone. Years ago, Clara had lost her younger brother in a similar accident. He had also withdrawn emotionally, and she had spent years learning how trauma affects children, not as a professional therapist, but as someone searching for healing herself. "I didn't fix Ethan," she said softly. "I recognized him." Richard realized her kindness wasn't training. It was experience. Just as progress seemed unstoppable, Ethan suddenly stopped speaking again. He avoided the garden, avoided Clara, avoided everyone. The mansion returned to silence. The staff feared the progress had vanished. Richard panicked. "We're losing him again." But Clara remained calm. "No," she said. "He's not shutting down. He's processing." That night, Ethan finally revealed why. He feared feeling happy, because happiness meant he could lose everything again. The realization stunned everyone. His emotionlessness had been fear all along. Clara led Ethan back to the garden one evening. But this time the lanterns were gone. The decorations were gone. Only darkness remained. Ethan looked confused. "Where is everything?" Clara handed him a lantern and said, "You don't need someone else to create light anymore. You can make it yourself." Slowly, Ethan lit the lantern. Then another, and another. One by one, the garden glowed again, but this time he created the light. Richard watched from the balcony, tears in his eyes. His son wasn't being saved anymore. He was healing himself. Months later, the mansion was no longer silent. Laughter echoed through the halls. Ethan attended school again. He made friends. He painted colorful drawings that filled the once cold walls. On Clara's last day, Ethan handed her a small wooden box, the same kind she had first given him. Inside was a drawing of the glowing garden. And a note, "You didn't teach me how to feel. You showed me it was safe to." Clara smiled through tears. As she walked away, Ethan ran after her. Not silently, not cautiously, but joyfully. And for the first time in years, the billionaire's son laughed loud, free, and alive. Sometimes hearts don't stop feeling. They simply wait for someone patient enough to show them that feeling again is safe. And on the day Ethan lit his own lantern, the mansion finally became a home.